Hello and welcome to Monday's edition of Sid Says. And Sid's going to be saying a lot this week, actually, especially with 8 days left to the transfer window. Are we going to actually buy any players? Is anyone going to leave Spurs? That's a different topic on a different day. But in the meantime, 8 days to go. Every player linked to Tottenham Hotspur. We haven't got anyone in. But I tell you who I have got in. I've got Darius 3K in Paxton Road TV. How are you, man?
Oh, great segue. You're getting professional at this now, bro. I'm doing great. I'm doing very good. Heard a few rumors today. Some people think it's good, some people may not, but we're here to talk about potentials and not confirmed deals, because we could talk about confirmed deals on other shows. This is all about who we could potentially sign. So I'm ready for you to give me the names and let's talk about these players.
Do you know what? You know what you were saying about potential, right? I've just been going through what I've done on my downloads. Oh my God, the list is endless. The amount of players I'm looking at, and I was like, whoa. And I'm like, no. You haven't got anyone. You know what I mean? But it's that song, isn't it? No. There's no limits. Anyway.
Sid sings back again.
Let's move on. Right. So the first one I'm going to talk about, actually, before we go any further, welcome everyone who's joined in, whether you're listening or watching. Keep watching. I've got another 2 more episodes probably left of Sid Says, and we've got plenty more going on. But keep liking, keep sharing, leave your comments down below. As much subscribers as possible, guys and ladies. And we'll try and get through as many transfers. And hopefully, my final show, I will hopefully give you all the good news of all the players we've signed. But one potential that's trending massively, and it's materialized over the last few days, might as well start with him, and it is the one and only Papa Matar Sarr from Mets, central midfielder, right-footed, 6 foot, £9 million, which I believe is a bit more than that at the precise moment. I think, before today, to be honest, I never heard of him as that much. But since the intensity has intensified, I have Googled him. I've watched a few videos of him, and boy, looks good.
He's a serious talent, I have to say. And to be fair, I only heard about him somewhere like end of last season, probably like February, March time. And the only reason I knew about him was because he comes from the same academy in Senegal, Generation Foot, as Mane's and Papi Cissé's, and I can't even remember a few others. Ismaila Sarr also was there as well. So it's a pretty famous academy down in Senegal, that Generation Foot. And a certain Sadio Mane made the same exact move from to Mets, and obviously he's turned out to be a pretty fantastic player. So a lot of people are raving about him. The first full game I watched of him was against Lille at the start of this season. Very first game, it was 3-3, and he looked like a seasoned veteran. He looked like he was in his prime. He was coasting through those teams. He was creating chances. He was intercepting. He was fantastic. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but Fabrizio Romano today on his stream was talking about this deal and basically saying we're in the final stages. And he was saying that a lot of his close football friends and people who were involved in football very closely say that he could potentially be the next Pogba, and that's what they're sort of comparing him to in sort of a player quality wise and player profile wise. So all these things have to be good news in my opinion. And to say that we got him ahead of a lot of clubs, I know City were linked with him, I know a few French clubs were linked with him, to say that we were the team to steal him and get him at 10, I think it was 10-15 million euros plus add-ons. It's a pretty fantastic deal. And if he does turn out to be this fantastic prospect, then that's a centre mid sorted for the next 5-10 years.
Absolutely. I mean, like I'm exactly like what you were saying. I didn't hear him as much as you did from in the last season, but I've seen a few bits of him, and the last couple of days I've been really Googling him, and especially when there was like 3 or 4 clubs after him, and we were the first ones in, and the fact that we've gone in out of the 4 clubs, and we've actually sat down, thrashed out a contract, and we were the first team that apparently his representatives saw, and as soon as they left, it was signed, sealed, almost delivered. And they're not entertaining anyone else, which for me you know what? I was shocked because normally clubs come to Tottenham, they see what Daniel Levy's got on the table, and they'll just say, you know what, mate, we'll come back because next club is going to pay us double what you're going to offer us in wages and in overall valuation fee and whatever. For him to come out of there and they're saying it's done deal, it's unbelievable. And if you're saying what you're saying, how good he is and the links to Pogba and stuff like that, I totally agree with you, mate. He looks an absolute beast. I was just looking at
what I see. Sorry to interrupt you, but I see a few people kind of angry, or not angry, but a little bit discontent about him going back on loan, saying that we need players now. And I completely understand that. But for a kid to get first team experience the entire season in a top 5 league, it's one of those where you have to sort of realize that there's nothing negative about him going back on loan for a year. Yes, there are a lot of players who you'd probably say in our centre mid don't deserve to be playing any more games. But at the same time, there's a few centre mids in there who haven't played at all, really. Lo Celso's and Ndombele's I look at, who, if they were to play in the team, and if they don't have a full-on role in the team and they're bit part players, then I would be okay with Ndombele and Lo Celso being bit part players for a year, if it means that Ndombele will go next year and then Sarr comes in next year. So I think the loan is fine. If it means that we've secured one of the top talents of the league, if you look at his stats, very, very similar to Camavinga, and Camavinga seemed as like the crown jewel almost of centre mids in France. So if he's got similar stats to Camavinga and he's of the same age as Camavinga, then I can only be excited. And Camavinga's looking to go to a big club like Madrid and Man United for about 35 million euros. So if we seem to have snipped up maybe a more underrated, under the radar version of him, then I can only be excited. Yeah,
and the other thing on that as well is, you know, if you send him back to Metz for a year, that means he's going to get an extra year of probably every game he's going to play, and he's going to get the experience. We've already bought in Skip, and we've got Højbjerg, right? So, and we've got Ali, Lo Celso. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that, but we've got a few of them. And I personally, I agree with you, mate. I don't have a problem with him going back on loan for a year, or even maybe 6 months. Like, say, all right, you can go until January. If we need you in January, we're going to pull you back. If the must arises that we need you, but let him play, let him get more experience, and he's only going to get better. I mean, looking at the stats, what I've got, this is just for last season. So his aerial duels, this is per game, it was 1.38 he won. The blocks were 1.43. Clearances were 1.53. Tackles, 2.7. And he got 5 yellow cards. So, you know, he's not just a one-track pony. He gets in, he gets his tackles in, he gets the blocks in, clearances. So he's doing everything.
He's also got fantastic strike on him as well.
Yeah.
He scored 4 goals, I think, last season, and he took a lot of long shots, but they weren't sort of long shots that were sort of crazy long shots you don't expect to score. He was hitting the target, making keepers work for it. So he's got an eye for a pass as well. I think it was the Lille game, I think he got something crazy like 4 key passes for a centre mid, which is if you're intercepting, tackling, and then creating 4 key passes as well.
Yeah.
He can do everything, like he said. He seems like the ideal box-to-box centre mid. And then again, he's 185 centimetres, 6 foot as well. So as an 18-year-old, if you're already 6 foot, the player who he reminds me of closer to his age, not Pogba, because obviously Pogba is a certified world-class footballer, world-class centre mid in my opinion. The closest player I can relate to him is Jude Bellingham, and Jude Bellingham is absolutely ridiculous for his age. So, and Pape Matar Sarr's got 1 year on Jude Bellingham. So if he's anything like Jude Bellingham, I'm all for him coming in next year and being a complete starter next year. So yeah, I'm happy with this. I'm very happy with this.
And if you look at what Jude Bellingham did, because if you remember, he actually went to Old Trafford. He was there. They showed him the training ground. They took him to Old Trafford. They showed everything because they thought it was signed and sealed, and they got him. Took the parents there, and they took him around, showed him houses and everything. And then he just took one step back, and he just probably thought, "I'm only 16. How the hell am I going to get into this team with the likes of Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, blah blah blah? Do you know what, guys? Thanks. I'm going to go somewhere else where I know I'm going to get in and I'm going to make a name for myself." And look what he's done. He's gone to Dortmund and he's been absolute beast. And Man United will probably be sat there now kicking themselves. But you know what? You can't blame Bellingham because he's gone there. He's got the experience now and he's probably a better and a bigger player.
And you can't blame Man United either, can you? Because
No.
that you just mentioned the midfield, and they had Donny van de Beek who came in that same or the summer after. So you can't blame Man United for not really capitalizing on that deal. Obviously, if you want to spend 20 million on him and sort of keep him on the bench, he's not going to be happy either. So the best thing for players of that age who look like they're going to be ridiculous players are to give them as many minutes as possible. So let him play the entire season at Metz. Come back into that team. I don't think you're going to see a lot of those centre mids. Sissoko and Ndombele, in my opinion, both won't be at the club next year. So you've already got room for a place in that central midfield role. So yeah, it's a great signing. Paratici's obviously working his magic, and I do think that you'll probably see a lot more of these out of the blue signings in the next 8 days. You'll probably see about 2 or 3 of these in the next 8 days. So yeah.
I mean, I totally agree with you, mate. I totally agree. I mean, talking about Ndombele, I don't think we're going to see him in Spurs shirt again, to be honest. I think.
You think he's gone this window?
I think if he's not gone this window, he ain't going to play, because it's 2 games in. He's not even had any game time. There seems to be problems between him and Nuno. Nuno's already said it, that he wants players that are going to play for the crest and not for the money. He doesn't seem like the type. For me, he doesn't seem like the type of player that Nuno's looking for, in terms of commitment and giving 100%. And if it's all true that he's turned around and said, I want to leave, then you know what? I believe Bayern have come in for him. I believe Juventus have offered McKinney as part exchange. Bayern have offered Tolisso as part exchange. So a lot of clubs are looking at part exchanges, but it's whether Daniel Levy wants straight cash or whether he's willing to accept Tolisso or McKinney or...
I think it'll be, like you said, I think cash will probably be ideal, but I think with the way that Paratici moves in the market and sort of how he can find for example, the Brian Hill, Eric Lamela deal, you probably see something like that happen where he will see a target that he looked at and thought, I want him. How can I get it cheaper? I'm going to use another player. And Ndombele's got so much value in him. It kind of almost means that Kane might not have to be sold this year, which I don't think he's going to get sold in the summer anyway. I think Eddie put a comment there saying he doesn't see Kane going anywhere. Neither do I. So if we do want to make a couple more signings, money has to come somewhere. We can't get rid of players at the moment. Aurier doesn't want to go. Sissoko doesn't want to go. So Winks doesn't want to go. So somebody has to make up the funds. And unfortunately, as much as it will pain me to see Ndombele go, if you don't want to play for the team, 60 million euros, and you can go and reinvest that money into two more players that will want to play for the team. So I think you'll probably see a deadline. If it, like you said, if he doesn't go, he probably won't play. If he does go, it'll probably be a deadline day deal. And I think you'll probably get a decent deal for somebody. Yeah,
because you know what? Bottom line is, for me, if Winks, Sissoko, and Ndombele don't want to play for Spurs, or they're not in Nuno's plans and he wants to get rid of them, then it's irrelevant if they turn around and say, I'm going to stay at the club. If you don't want him at the club, mate, you got to get rid of him. Simple as. Because you know what? It's for them, like for Winks, for example, Everton have come in for him. They don't want him, right? Now they don't want him. So Winks is like, well, if I go there, that's good. I'm out of Spurs. But then if he doesn't materialize, he's going to be sat at Spurs because he knows he's got another 2 years contracts or whatever. He's going to sit there, which stops us from buying players because he's already sat there. And unless you're going to vanquish him to the under 23s or something, which you're not going to do. So if they want to get rid of players, the next 8 days, they're going to have to get rid of them. And if it means he takes a hit on a couple of them, so be it. Or
you have to do what Arsenal do and pay them off. And
exactly.
I don't think Levy's going to do that, but sort of, I heard that the homegrown quota or the sort of foreign players quota has been reached now. So players are going to have to go if you're going to bring any, like legally, we won't be able to sign or register any players. So we have to get rid of players first, unfortunately.
So at least 99%, it's one deal's already done and dusted. We're just waiting for that, holding the top in his hand, and then we'll be convinced. So that's one defensive midfielder. Moving on to the next player, and we have Domingos Duarte, plays for Granada, centre back, right footed, 6'2", Portuguese, valued at 10 million, but apparently release clause is 25 million. So I had to change that because they put a release clause in, so it's 25 million. And apparently we're quite keen on this guy, but then again, we've been keen on everyone I've done in the last 3 weeks. So Yeah, I mean, looking at last season, he made 29 appearances, 2 aerial duels won, 1.39 blocks. His clearances were 4.2, tackles were 1.34, and 1 red card, 5 yellow cards.
You know what? I didn't watch a lot of La Liga last season. I'm not too keen on well, not keen. I'm not too sure about who Domingos Duarte is. But what I will say is, how tall was he again? I wasn't.
He is 6'2".
I think we're probably going to need a centre back who's of a decent height, probably 6'2" to around 6'5". And if we're looking at that sort of centre back, I am happy with that, to be fair, because I believe, and I don't know how the comments feel, but I believe we still need a centre back. And my issue is, do we go and get a centre back who can play right back like a Tomiyasu, or do we get a centre back and a right back and then potentially not get an attacking midfielder or a centre midfielder? In my opinion, the best thing to do would probably get a utility player who can play in centre back and right back, because like a few of the guys said, I think certain players are not going to want to leave if they're getting paid good money. Aurier, I don't think will leave if he doesn't have to, because he can go on a free next season and get a good contract. So if these players aren't going to leave and you're not willing to pay off their deals, then you're going to have to bring in players that maybe have to do 1 or 2 roles, because at the end of the day, Duarte coming in would be good, but we've still got Rodon, we've still got Romero, Sanchez and Dyer both seem to be playing okay, well, more than okay this at the start of the season. So they're playing pretty fantastic. So at the moment, I honestly don't think we're going to bring in a centre back. I really don't see. I think Levy's probably seen the performances of Sanchez and Dyer and thought, we'll probably bring in another centre back. We'll probably keep our centre backs and more if the Tomiyasu deal goes through, then we've got a backup centre back and right back. So I don't know if this one's going to happen, Sid. I'm not too sure if you know any more about him. But
it's I just read about it. I heard about it yesterday. But to be honest, every week it's Spurs have gone in for him. Nuno wants him. Paratic is looking at it, and it's almost done deal. But I think it's just all smoke and daggers. We're linked with everyone. It's like you're saying, Tomiyasu is probably the main man, but again, that's been going on now, mate. That's like,
I don't think that's happening either.
No, I mean that saga's been going on longer than EastEnders, isn't it? By the looks of it now, and it's just they just need that to come out the end, but it's not gonna happen. So I don't know. I mean, watch this space on Duarte, but I think come Friday it'll be all forgotten and we'll have moved on to someone else. Just before we move on to exactly. Just before we move on to the next one, thank you very much to everyone who's joined in. We've got Jews Nuts, Chris, Sean Hurl, Eddie Ryan, Spurs 72. Welcome everyone. Big shout out to everyone.
Great comments as well, by the way. I'm really liking the insight in the comments. It's making me really think about, because Jews just said we don't need a centre back, and you know what? With the 4 that we've got at the moment, if they carry on playing the way they are, I would rather invest in our midfield. So keep the comments going, guys. It's really good insight.
Really good. I mean, there's another one here. Henry Sagal saying we will get a creative midfielder and a cheap striker. That's it, guys. Do you know what? I'm not convinced with a creative midfielder, because who is out there that's creative that we're going to look at? There's a lot, but
it's difficult.
I mean, it is difficult. Delhi's coming to it at the moment. You know, so, and a cheap striker, there's no such thing as a cheap striker. The cheap striker, we missed out on Danny Ings. I'm sorry, but I'm putting it out.
He still cost £30 million. So
exactly.
That's not cheap at all. So I think the issue with the striker is, and I know we won't probably touch on the strikers just now. I think Kane's pretty much going to stay now unless they actually shoulder a proper bid. But with a striker, it seems like Son's playing centrally. And to me, I probably can see Nuno and Paratici making Kane and Son the 2 strikers of the team, having Dane Scarlett as a backup, and then probably bringing in maybe Adama Traore and another winger. Jews Nuts, I said Van der Beek this morning. I said that would be the perfect signing. But again, are Manchester United going to sell directly to a rival? I don't think so. But Van der Beek would have been my perfect choice. Or Mikel Damsgaard. But again, I don't think Damsgaard's going to happen now. So
Damsgaard was one of them, weren't it? That he's going to watch this space. It's going to happen towards, but they did say towards the end of the window. So we've got 8 days left. But Jews Nuts, I 100% agree, because even when this guy signed for Man United, I told my boys that this guy, we need to get him because he was the player that would have absolutely sorted us out once and for all for Eriksen's replacement.
100%.
It was another one of these when it was Spurs or Man United, and we dilly-dallied again on the price, and he ended up
we
at
were
Man
linked,
United.
we were linked before him. Yeah, you're right. We were linked before,
Yeah.
and I remember obviously that Ajax team from, well, gosh, it was 2018-19 now.
Yes.
They were unreal, and I think every single one of the players at the end of that season who stood out to everyone, Ziyech, Frankie de Jong, Matthijs de Ligt, all got their move. And then it seemed like the underrated players sort of stayed a year and then got their move after. So Onana he's still at Ajax, but I don't think he'll be at Ajax from next season. I thought he was incredibly important to that team. So Serginho Dest, he went to Barcelona the season after, and then Van de Beek went to Man United. And I think everybody realized when he went to Man United that he wasn't going to start in that team. And I was so sad because he would walk into as an attacking midfielder, he's everything that I would want as a Tottenham attacking midfielder. He's like you said, he would fill that Eriksen void perfectly. And I'm sad that we didn't go for him, but I think that's off the cards now. So we'll probably have to a Paratici masterclass. He'll bring in a name that nobody knows, and we'll all be raving about him after 2 days when we've done all of our YouTube scouting. So I hold faith.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think deep down, Van de Beek is probably thinking, you know what, I've made the wrong move here. I should have gone to Spurs. But honest to God, if he would have come to Spurs, man, he would have been one of the favourites. Spurs fans would have loved him because I've seen him play. You've seen him play. Everyone else has seen him play. I love him as a player. Yeah. It's just quality wasted at Man United, unfortunately. He's not getting enough time. Anyway, you said we weren't going to talk about strikers. Well, guess what? Here is Benfica's Darwin Núñez, centre forward, right foot, 6'1", 22 years old, 18 million, Uruguayan. Last season, 29 appearances, 6 goals, 9 assists, and 2 yellow cards. This again surfaced yesterday, and from what I gather, it was gaining momentum. But I think it's another one of these typical Paratici and Daniel Levy. Let's put players into the mix. Let's get Sid Says looking at players and running out of players to.
You do their job for them.
Exactly. I've not seen him play, to be honest, so I can't comment much on him. But he seems like a decent striker.
To be fair, I don't watch Benfica. Don't really watch Portuguese league that often. I know there's a lot of talent in that league in the Lisbon teams, and even again Porto have a few good players. But for me, when I watch Darwin Núñez, especially in terms of just like the highlights and how he plays, he seems quite wasteful. He doesn't seem like he takes all of his chances. And I've heard and I've seen links. I think I actually think Romano did mention it today, but I think he's on his way to Brighton. So
wow, okay,
yeah. So I know Brighton are trying to finish it or finalize a deal with Cucurella, a left back, and then I think apparently they're going to go for Darwin Núñez afterwards. So I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not that bothered about Darwin Núñez. Again, I think he's quite a wasteful striker. I do believe that the profile of striker is what we need because we've got a player like Son who seems to be playing centrally, who's a little bit smaller. Dane Scarlett, again, a little bit smaller. I think we need one of those big focal point centre forwards to sort of offer something different for us. I know that Nuno seems to be going down the route of quick attacks, fast transitions, fast players for up front, but you can always like afford to have a striker like that in your team who's above 6 foot, can play with his back to goal. As you saw, the best striker in the world at doing that has joined Chelsea and absolutely ripped apart Arsenal in that game. So, and he was amazing. So there's a lot of players and there's a lot. Well, I was raving about Timo, but I'm still the Leipzig fan in me, or the Leipzig. I love all the players that come out of Leipzig. I hope he still does well. But again, when you've got somebody like Lukaku who can do that and change the way that you play your game, and players off Lukaku can work with him as well. I think you do need a striker like that. I don't know if Darwin Núñez is the one. There's a few others that you could probably find in the market, but yeah, I think the right profile, wrong player. I don't know how you feel about it.
I totally agree with you. It's like you said, I've not heard much of him. I saw bits and bats of him yesterday on YouTube and whatever, but you know, it's one of these like Vinicius and Janssen and them kind of players. Number one, are they going to be willing to come to Spurs? And if they are, they're not going to be second fiddle to Harry Kane. And I've not seen enough of this guy to convince me that if we do sell Harry Kane, then this guy is the ideal man to replace him. I don't think he is. I mean, a lot of people will probably be like, Nunes, who? So
that's a good point you make as well. I really do believe, like, with Son playing up front and Kane seeming like he's going to stay this season. I don't think a striker is a priority. Our backup striker is a priority. I think the next striker we should buy should 100% be with the intention of replacing Kane, just because you know that you're going to have to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And I think you can sell that to a striker of good quality, saying, look, you might not play every single game this season, but Kane ain't staying.
Exactly.
So you will take that role. So I just think that take your time, don't rush, don't sort of force it. If you can get a loan deal, I'm cool with that. I think a loan deal will probably be ideal. I think you might see that towards the end of the window, maybe a loan striker deal if we manage to keep Kane. But for me, if you're going to go and get a striker, go and get someone who's going to be able to replace Kane and sort of save your funds for other positions, because again, there's plenty of positions that we still need to work on. And I just think that a striker at the moment, given the forwards and the way that the forwards are playing and sort of the players that haven't come back yet, I think we'll be okay without a striker. I really do believe that we'll be okay without a striker. And a lot of people may disagree, but I just think that if you can get, again, Juice Nuts is giving off great advice here, but Sabitzer available for 15 million euros. I'd rather go and spend 15 or maybe add an extra 5 million euros to complete the deal and sign Sabitzer than spend 15 million euros on Darwin Núñez. Do you know what I mean? So it's allocation of funds, isn't it? That's why I've been clowning Arsenal, because they have spent the most money in Europe. But they haven't really improved their team from last season. So it's how you spend the money. It's not how much money you spend, in my opinion. It's how you spend the money.
See, the other problem as well is, like you said, with Kane, potentially, if he doesn't go this season, then next season his value gets lower. We're not going to get 150. So
I think you get 100 for him, though, still.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because then Haaland's going to become available. Mbappe's going to become available. So if you're a striker now looking and Spurs are putting an interest in you, then deep down you should be thinking, really, hold on a second. If I did go to Spurs, I may be a bit part player for the first 6 months, maybe whatever, but potentially I'm going to be the main man. You know what I mean? And, all right, for 6 months, you just sit there, play the odd game here and there, but eventually you're going to be our main man. And if you play your cards right, it could be a massive, massive move and you could become Spurs number one. But you know what? It is one of them. The problem is we've got to find that right striker. We can't just go in there for anyone and everyone. It has to be the right criteria. He's got to be a good player. He's got for me, the most important thing is he has to be able to settle and play with or alongside Son, because he's going to be the focal point.
He's the main man.
Exactly.
So and just on this, there's a comment here from Sean. The last I heard about the Sabitzer deal was that he was pretty much, if he was going to go anywhere, he's going to go to Bayern Munich and join up with Julian Nagelsmann. I think there was a 15 million euro or 17 million euro bid that was going to be placed by Bayern. So unfortunately, as boring as it sounds, you're probably going to see Sabitzer at Bayern Munich next season, and that will be a great signing for them. So
I thought that was a done deal to Bayern Munich, as far as I was aware. Because
I thought it was it, but I'm not sure.
Because I covered him a couple of weeks ago, and after I covered him, from what I gather, he'd signed for Bayern Munich. So but nothing's been confirmed. I think they're in the same boat.
Nothing confirmed yet.
Nothing confirmed. Right, so that's a striker done. Right, last one I'm going to do. This is the one. Again, all these rumours about Tanguy and Ndombele not happy at Spurs, Nuno not wanting him at Spurs. He's now asked for a transfer. And there's a lot of clubs coming in Bayern Munich have come in and Juventus have come in and they've offered McKinney for Ndombele and 20 million. And the latest team to be involved is Bayern Munich, and they've offered us this. Bayern Munich's centre midfield player, Tolisso, right foot, 5'9", 27 years old, French international. And just for Sean, that music, you said, where was the music?
Tolisso got the music and everything.
Tolisso got the music. They were all supposed to get the music, but for some reason, only Tolisso, apparently, and Ndombele said that only Tolisso can have the music. So he's at the
Might be
music.
a sign. Might be a
Might be
sign.
a sign. Yeah. But yeah, I'll tell you straight. My boy said Toliso's a very poor man's version of, I can't remember who they said, but they said he's a very, very, in fact, my youngest said he's a poor man's version of anyone in our midfield. So that's my boy.
Oh, maybe in terms of his ankles, the quality of his ankles and knees, because Tolisso, again, and again, he's a good player. I think he's a talented player, but the reason I'm completely like no to this deal is,
there you go.
As our great friend Sean put perfectly, the guy can't play more than 5 games without getting injured. And for me, I've seen enough of that at Tottenham. I mean, we just managed to flog one of our most injury-prone players after being here for 8 years in Lamella. I don't want another one coming in on big wages. Sort of, I don't know if his heart will really be in playing for Tottenham. As Nuno said, he wants players to play for the badge. He wants players to really care about playing for Tottenham. And you're going to find it difficult to find senior players that will care about Tottenham unless they've been at the club for a long time or they have some sort of affinity to the club, because Tottenham aren't really in any competitions. We don't win that many trophies. So it's sort of hard to bring in those senior players and say, look, you're going to be the spine or you're going to be the reason that we're going to push on. So I think, I don't know. For me, I'd rather just not go for the injury-prone players, especially when they're known to be injury-prone as well. Like you've had some players who've come to the club and gotten injured and sort of developed some sort of injury-prone issue. But I just think that Tolisso, for me, nah. And again, Weston McKennie over Tolisso, 1,000,000%. I think Weston McKennie, I don't know if he'd be, in terms of footballing ability, no, he's not an upgrade on Ndombele, but in terms of work ethic and sort of what he can bring to the team, Weston McKennie will have much more of an impact than Ndombele, especially in the Premier League. So I think, let's stay far away from Tolisso, because you don't want to spend that money on a player who's going to, I think he's only played, I can't remember, it's something ridiculous, but like 30 odd games or something in the space of 3 or 4 seasons. I can't remember what it was exactly, but it's a shocking stat. And we don't need that at Tottenham, unfortunately.
Yeah, let me just have a quick deck on his stats from last season. 24 appearances. This is all appearances, 3 goals and 1 yellow card. So 24 games.
It'd be very interesting to see how many of them came off the bench as well, because 24, even if you started 24 games, played 24, started 24, still only 2/3 of the season. So
of course it is. Yeah,
that's a worry for me already.
Yeah, and a team of Bayern Munich statute, right? Why would you want to get rid of a player like that? If he's supposed to be a quality player, why would you want to get rid of him and then get Ndombele in? I tell you why, probably because they see more in Ndombele, more skills, the type of player that they're looking for. And what you just said and what Sean's been saying is they probably think this guy's injury prone. Let's get him out. And if we can get Ndombele in and give Tottenham 20 million or 30 million, you know what? We've got him off our hands. Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, I don't even know if Ndombele is a good match at all for Bayern Munich. I mean, I'm just thinking about the way that Julian Nagelsmann plays football and sort of how much he demands his teams to press. And if Ndombele can't press for Nuno Espirito Santo, I don't see how he's going to be able to work in a Nagelsmann system unless they literally give him a completely free role and just say, look, we know how talented you are, do your thing. But that's Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich don't operate like that. There's no sort of stars in that Bayern Munich team. Everybody sort of pulls their own weight. So even then, I think Serie A is probably the perfect place for Ndombele to go to. I think if he joined Juventus, the best team in Serie A, in my opinion, going to have 50-60% possession most games, going to dominate most games, probably won't have to do as much hard work. It'll probably thrive. It'll probably look like Pogba did at Juventus. So I see that more for both parties as a better opportunity. And you know what? I think there's plenty other players in that Bayern Munich team that I'd rather trade with than Tolisso anyway. So,
but then if what you're saying as well about the Italian league, if he goes to the Italian league, right, and there's players out there and that would suit his style of play, Paratici's got contacts at Juventus. If there's offered as McKennie, why is he not going back there and saying, right, hold on, I don't want McKennie. However, give me Dybala. However, give me him. Go in there and make your demands. Because if they want our player as much as they're saying they want, then you say to them, well, all right, let's play. Let's sit down. Get McKennie. Who else have you got that we can negotiate? And let's see what we can do. Because you never know, Dybala could be that striker to replace Harry Kane. Could be that.
And the thing is, He's got what? I think it's 4 years still on his deal.
Is it 4?
Even if I think it's 4, even if it was 3 years left on his deal,
Yeah.
and the next year was 2 years, he's still going to be able to sell him for a decent price with 2 years left on his deal. So
absolutely.
I don't think Daniel Levy or Fabio Paratici is really stressing if we don't sell him. But what I think they will do is, if opportunities come up in the market towards the end of it, obviously with deadline day and a few clubs maybe putting up a few fire sale deals, I think they'll probably say, look, instead of us selling maybe, well, not Kane, but maybe instead of us spending money like people want us to do, we can sort of spend the money that we make from the Ndombele sale and sort of cut even almost. So that's probably what you're going to see. I think if opportunities arise for important players to sign for Tottenham, maybe Houssem Aouar, maybe Mikel Damsgaard, maybe Tomiyasu, if you can get 2 out of 3 of those players for the price that you sell Ndombele for, I know what I'm choosing personally. So
of course, but I think the biggest problem we've got is if he wants to leave and we don't allow him to leave, or we're not happy with what players we're going to get or what we want, and if Daniel Levy says, no, I just want cash, then the problem is we don't want a very creative, talented player, either not even in the match day squad. Now, to have someone like that, not even in the match day squad, for me, that's just
second highest earner, is he, or third highest earner in the club as well?
I think it's the third highest earner, and you're going to have him not even in a squad. Come on, you either sell him or you've got to, put him in that team somehow. Whether all right, you don't start him, but you put him on the bench, and even if he gets 10 minutes, right? And as you what said, if he's the third highest earner, mate, make him earn his money. Don't just let him sit at home or whatever, mate. You're coming to Stoke or Brighton or Burnley on a Wednesday night, and you're going to travel.
Play the Conference League. Conference League. That's what he should be doing.
Exactly. You know, make him play. But on that note, that's the 1, 2, 4 players for today. Now, what I'm thinking is, firstly, foremostly, I'd want to thank everyone that's tuned in and watched. Please leave any comments about the players or any other players that you may or may not think should be coming to Spurs in the next 8 days. I'll try my best to try and get you some more. However, I'm thinking on Friday of doing a show. I might get 2 more guests in. Hopefully, I might try and entice Darius. And instead of players in, I want to do a players out. Who do we should be leaving Tottenham Hotspur, and who should be on the market to leave?
And you know what, Sid? You should limit it to like maybe 3 or 4 players, because I think a lot of people would just ship a lot of players out. But you know what? What would be the difficult decision is who you would rather sell, and I think that's going to be the main thing. I don't think we're going to be able to sell all the players we want. So if you're given an option, for example, between Winks and Aurier, who are you going to choose? That's a good debate to have. So yeah. But that's what we'll do. We'll probably do about 4 players, and then we'll probably even put a poll out as well. We'll discuss it, and then we'll put a poll out, get everyone involved, everyone that's watching today, and everyone else on Twitter and everywhere else, and then we'll see what happens. Before we go as well, I did a poll last week. I think Mike was on, and we said we was going to do one. Or was it yourself, Darius? We was going to do who's better? Who do you want? Maximan, and who was the third one? That was Saar. That was it. But after that, we did another one. Maximin won that one, but I think me and Mike done one. Lewandowski or Harry Kane? Yeah. What? Currently, right now? Yeah. I mean, you tell me who you think, and I'll tell you what the poll said. Currently, right now, excluding like obviously players wanting to leave and stuff, if you're just talking about the player themselves, I would rather Harry Kane in the Premier League. But I'm not gonna discredit like Lewandowski, because Lewandowski is my favorite striker of my generation personally. I think he's, again, stats speak for Lewandowski, the numbers speak for Lewandowski. I think he's underappreciated as a striker. 3rd highest Champions League goal scorer. Yeah, I think he's the highest Bundesliga, on his way to. I think he's 2nd highest to Gerd Muller. Broke Gerd Muller's record. Like, Lewandowski to me is a legend. So I can see why Lewandowski, but for me, Harry Kane offers more, and he's younger. So I'm gonna go with Harry Kane. I'm hoping Harry Kane won the poll. It did. 78% voted. 78% of the votes said Harry Kane over Lewandowski. Paxton people know ball. At least I can go to sleep knowing that the Paxton people know ball. That's good. Exactly. So thank you very much for giving me a bit of your time on this Monday night. Pleasure. Darius, I know you're a busy guy, so I'm not even going to ask where people can find you, because I think everyone knows who you are. You'll see me. Yeah, everyone's going to see you around. So until the next time,
before we leave, I'll just put this final video. So I'm not even going to say it, but and on that note, good evening and see you on Friday. Take care, everyone. Thank you very much for watching.